My name is Serina Greene. I come from the Bear Clan. I'm from Nadleh Whut'en First Nations. My father is the late Edgar Greene from Haida Gwaii. He transferred to Nadleh Whut'en. My father come from the Eagle Clan in Haida Gwaii, and he got adopted into the Caribou Clan in Nadleh Whut'en. My mother is the late Eleanor Nooski Heathcliff, the daughter of Angeline and Charlie Nooski. My grandparents lived in Ormond Lake. My mother was born in Ormond Lake in a smokehouse. My grandmother and my grandfather lived at Ormond Lake, and that's my grandfather's trap line up there at Ormond Lake. My grandfather's late Charlie Nooski, and everyone known him as Chalwat because he's the little Charlie. So his Chalwat to our whole family. I was taught how to hunt, how to survive by my late father, the Edgar Greene. I was taught how to hunt at a young age. I had to go with my father in the bush. We were told to go with him because we have men in our families, but my dad thought it's proper to teach us girls how to hunt because he was not going to be here forever, he told us. So we were taught how to hunt and trap with my late father, Edgar Greene. My survival skills is to hunt, to fish, to grow a garden, to provide for my family. We were taught how to hunt. We had to go for a walk with my dad, and if you could make that walk, like it was way behind Nadleh Mountain, and we had to go with him, and he taught us how to call moose. He taught us about how to set rabbit snares, and when we first learned how to catch a rabbit and how to call a moose and to shoot a gun, we were ready to do it on our own. I remember being so young and catching my first rabbit, and I cried because it was dead. But Dad had good mentor skills, like how to survive. He taught us how to go on the Nadleh Mountain. There's a lake behind Nadleh Mountain. It's called Mary Jane Lake. And that's where I shot my first bull moose, is at Mary Jane Lake. It was, I think I was 14 years old when I shot my first bull moose, and I was scared of my father's rifle, so I leaned against the tree and I used it so I won't get thrown around by the rifle. So I shot my first bull moose at Mary Jane Lake, and I thought Dad was gonna give me his rifle after that, but he didn't. So I shared my moose with all my family, all my aunties, because it was my first moose. I had to give it all away. I wasn't allowed to take one steak. I had to give my whole moose away because that's just the way of life in Dakelh territory. When I go fishing, I have a certain spot in Nadleh, like at the river when the fish are good, like the salmon. I fish for not only me, I fish for my whole community of my elders, my sisters, my aunts, and my uncles. Everybody gets fish from me. From far and near, I help people that didn't have fish in Burns Lake. I help people here at our own home baselines to gather fish and get fish from all the way to Sekas. As for a bow and arrow, no, I never used the bow and arrow. The most challenging tradition I learned is how to skin animals. To skin animals, it takes a lot of work and a lot of time to skin like a moose and to take the hide off of it and to gut the moose. It's challenging at times because you need somebody tougher than you to be with you to help you. Before I go hunting, I always pray. I always ask the Creator to guide me to my animals. And I call them my angels, my ones that have gone before me, and I pray to them before I go hunting. And when I do get an animal, I always give in for directions of tobacco back to my animals that I kill, even to the fish that I catch. Like this summer, I got to catch fish, and I did put tobacco in my river because it's providing for me. When we were young, my father, if we were out of food in the fall time, my dad would go to the islands of Nadleh Islands, like by Bill Evans Jr.'s island over there, and he'd collect goose eggs. And my father would gather the goose eggs and he'd bring them home to us. And that's how we ate. We ate goose eggs. My dad would make omelets out of them. There's times when we had no money and no food, so Dad would have no choice to go collect goose eggs for us. And then I remember also one time my late mother, Eleanor Nooski, she made us dandelion soup because we had no food as well. And that's how we survived when we were growing up. There was 10 of us in our house. How I coped during the fires was I was brought outside the community. I had to stay in Fraser Lake, and I stayed at my boyfriend's parents' house, but every day I got to come home. And I fished for my elders and my people of Nadleh. When the Shovel Lake fires happened, I was myself. I was very concerned because it looked like the fire was going to come over the mountain. And I'm like in direct line of the fires at the time. So I was very afraid of the fires. I was scared. It was hard to cope because every time we came home, we had to stop here at the hall at Nadleh to report into coming home, and it felt like, this is my home. Why should I report to anyone to come home to a place that I love? So it felt really awkward. I felt like a school kid when I had to report to somebody here to come home. The 2018 fires took my traditional territory, it burnt it down. I have to go further and further now to go hunting. I have to go further and further to go get my berries or to get my medicine. So the damage done from the 2018 fires left a lot of damage onto my people of Nadleh. As traditional people, we gather food and we hunt here. This is our home. It not only does damage to our land, it does damage to our animals. Like, I barely see hardly any moose around anymore. Our bears, when there used to be so much animals here, the 2018, the fires, they did so much damage. They did a lot of damage, and not only to our people, to our land, to our waters, to the places that we get spring water. Our spring water does help with medicines. The medicines the fires took away from us, it cannot be replanted. It cannot be brought back. And these are the medicines that help people with cancer. It helps people with arthritis, leukemia, with every kind of ailment you have. In a doctor's book, our plants in the bush could help us. You just have to know how to use them and not abuse them, and take what you need, not take the whole plant. Activities on our land, I did lots with my sister Beverly Ketlo and the late Lisa Ketlo. I did go out getting berries and huckleberries all over the place, all over from Shovel Creek all the way to Fraser Mountain. I picked berries and I picked Indian tea on the Dog Creek. I picked mint at Nadleh River. We used all this for our traditional ways and our traditional to heal people. I helped with getting birch sap water from the trees. We helped many of our elders doing our birch tapping with the trees, and we gave them the water to drink if they got sick. There is a lot of things that we used and we got on the land. When I was young, we used to go strawberry picking down beside the old smokehouse, and we used to get strawberries, and my mom would make little tiny jams for us. My mom was she loved to live off the land. She always taught us the ways of life, the right ways, not to be overpicked, to overtake. Don't take too many of what we can't give back. And my late uncle Albert Nooski, also known as Buddy, I went trapping with him on our river. I used to help him watch him take out the beaver out of the traps, and I'd go to his house and watch him skin it. He's teaching me how to skin the beavers and skin the marten and skin the cougars that he caught. I remember being up there, and my uncle was a best trapper. He walked many, many, many kilometers on our land, and that's how he's survived. He was a trapper, and he taught me how to do a lot of stuff on the land, and taught me how not to get lost. So there's many people that helped me in my life to know the knowledge that I know and know how to do what I do. I do it best because of my teachers that taught me, like the late Lisa Ketlo. She was my berry picking partner, and when I found a good patch, and we won't tell anybody else, and if we found really big berries, she'd say something too, so I could know that you found a good patch. So I used to say, "Kaka, kaka," to so she'll know that to go to see Serina. If she heard me do that call, she'd come zoom into me. Those are the people that taught me how to do my medicines that I know how to do is the late Lisa Ketlo and my sister Beverly Ketlo. My late uncle would tell me how to dry a bear gall, and if you're so sick, you put bear gall in your tea and you'd be better. There's certain things in life that are gonna be a secret for the rest of my life. That stuff that I will not talk about. I'm keeping my COVID-19. I'm keeping my circle very small. I come to work and I go home. Right now I work for Nadleh Whut'en First Nations. I'm the main janitor. During COVID-19, I'm protecting not only me, I'm protecting my staff of my community and my people. I talk to them during our meetings and I tell them to please, if you're going in somebody's office, have respect for each other and use hand sanitizers, wash your hands, social distance. It's important because if this outbreaks into our community, we're not only going to lose our youth, we're going to lose a lot of elders. And the elders, that's all we have right now. And I'm praying that people listen to what we have to say. COVID-19 is real. I got 2 moose this year, 2 bull moose. As a hunter, like I said before, I always pray to the Creator and to my angels. I have many angels to pray for. And the last bull moose, the first bull moose, I prayed to my Uncle Buddy. And it was one day after his potlatch. And I said, "Come on, Uncle Buddy, I need you to help me out." And Wade, he's my boyfriend, he was hunting with me. He's like, "Oh my God, if I ever seen prayers be answered so fast." He said, "Look up." And I looked up because I was just kissing my rifle and there's a bull moose standing on the road and I'm like, "Wow." So that was awesome. It was like, I told my uncle how hard I worked for his headstone potlatch and he gave me a reward of my bull moose. So I thank my Uncle Buddy for that. So I got that moose and I prayed to Uncle Buddy and that moose was there. And my boyfriend Wade said, "Are you gonna take that moose?" And I slowly got out of the truck so it won't run away. And then I shot that moose once and it went not very far and it just dropped dead. I never been so happy in my life. I got that moose home and we brought it to Wade's family's place and we hung it up. The butchers came in about 3 days and my moose went all the way to Victoria, some of my moose meat. And a lot went to my siblings. My sisters, they got some moose meat. My cousins, and so it went a long ways. My moose meat. So about my moose, I prayed to Uncle Buddy, and my moose was standing in the middle of the road, and I shot my big bull moose. I was very happy about it, and I got it home. I got it to my boyfriend Wade's place, mom's place, and I hung it. The butchers came and cut it. I put that moose in the freezer, and I shared with people all the way to Victoria, to my sisters in Nadleh Whut'en, to my nieces. So I got 2 moose. My second moose was, I prayed to my cousin Glenda, and she put a bull moose on the road for me. And my cousin Glenda is from Saikas First Nations, and she passed away. So she also put a bull moose on the road for me.